Sometimes. Okay, I got all the parts. Look at that one. By doing something. If you have a son or a daughter that wants to get into mountain biking or even just riding on the street and you're really not excited about the $500 Ozark Trail options from Walmart that weigh 35, 40 pounds and are bound to have to be replaced in a couple years, this is for you. This video I'm preparing based on this 1997, 99, somewhere in there, Gary Fisher Super Caliber, which is, I believe, a handmade elite tier bicycle from that era. I think they retailed for around $2,000 and probably in today's money, $3,000 to $4,000, right? It is totally built to the T with RockShox Sit Air, XTR derailleur. These wheels are amazing. They even have, I think, what's a carbon finish on them so they don't squeal or make noise when you brake. And only problem is they're a little gunked up and they need a little TLC. A client of mine a few years ago gave me this bicycle and I did some work for him as a thank you. And for $250 in parts, lubrication, we're gonna make this perform like brand new. And for less than the price of a throwaway bicycle from Walmart, you're gonna have a roughly 25-pound bicycle in the end. So stick around and I'll show you just how to do that. And if you can't find this exact model, there's lots of really cool bikes from that era you can still get on eBay for pretty cheap. Quick tour of the bicycle. Look at these Race Lite wheels. You got these spokes pattern. They were so concerned back in those days about the weight that they didn't crisscross the spokes on the higher end wheels. And Bontrager crank step-in pedals, which we're gonna change because he's not into that yet. Really nice brakes. It's got the XT V brakes and the XTR, like I said, XTR derailleur. Pretty slick XT front. It really is nice and doesn't weigh much. Problem is, front suspension is gonna be hard to find a seal kit for, and it's really soft. In fact, I couldn't even find the adapter to put air in them. So for the time being, we're gonna pop those off and we're gonna install these solid steel forks since he's just riding on the road for now. And that'll buy me some time to try to figure out if I can replace or repair these front suspension. It's really important you find these with the V-brake V-brake compatible mounts here. And there are a lot of cheap options on Amazon in aluminum that weigh even less, but I went with steel because this is a known brand, Carver, and it wasn't too bad. It was about 112 bucks. If I decide to sell those SIDs, I think they're worth $300 even in the condition that they're in, which will actually pay for this entire project. For the pedals, I went with a generic brand. These are Gooage. What a quality sounding brand, but they do have a nice sealed bearing, very smooth, and they were only $23 on Amazon. I'll link those in the description. I had to dig to find a nice aluminum CNC pedal with a reflector built in, and this was the only one I found. They come in lots of cool colors. These are really all the tools you need. That WD-40 to break up the shifter mechanism, and Tri-Flow to keep things flowing with the cables and the gears. All right, we're gonna give it a quick pre-work weight. What do we have there?
24.
24? That's light. That's impressive. Check out that rear cog. They left no room for extra weight. That is just one thing I absolutely love about this era. A 24-pound bicycle is all about control and maneuverability. It wasn't about pounding through bumps. It was all about finesse and bunny hopping your way through the forest. This is a little sweet piece of history right here. And like I said, I think they're handmade, and they did invent this long top tube, short bottom tube design, I believe. Might have even been on this model. My son just pointed something out. I didn't even notice. The front is all straight spoke, but in the back, typically they do crisscross because that's where the power transfer is, but they were so obsessed with every gram that the other side is straight spoked, and that is how you end up with a 24-pound mountain bike. Pretty insane. So you can see it's still a little dirty. We did power wash it. We're just gonna go through the gears here. You can see, still needs some adjusting. I did some basic adjusting just to make sure I knew where we were, but we're gonna go ahead and reset all those and then lubricate it so it's easier to get through them. Still needs a little bit of work. Shockingly, the tire rubber is in pretty good shape So we're actually just gonna keep those. But V-brakes, in case you haven't used these before, you just squeeze them together, pop that out, pull your lever. They kind of had that funky. Usually you need to untwist a little bit here. It's been a while since my mountain bike shop days. There we go. Used to work in a mountain bike shop about 25 years ago. Through the front, and the front's holding air, but since the rear is out, I'm not gonna take any chances. It's old rubber in there. We just put some new ones in for a few bucks. Worth every penny. Getting the Presta out. Forgive the cluttered shop. I have a lot of different projects going on. Check the channel if you're new to me. Everything DIY with a lot of off-road truck stuff and car audio. Let's see. I'm trying to do this without tire levers. Used to be able to. Sometimes you need tire levers, sometimes you just need a little bit of soap. So, not to knock service shops, because they gotta make money too, right? But we thought about just having this done, just this little refresh, and without any parts, just lubricating and adjusting the gears and changing inner tubes. I think we were at 300 bucks already, so take notes if you've never done this. You can buy tire levers to make this job easy, but all right, it just occurred to me. I couldn't find my tire levers, it's been a while. Car audio trim tools also work quite well. If you're one of my car audio followers, you probably already have 20 of these things. That's all you gotta do. And then you don't need to take the whole tire off. That's something I used to do as a kid and just made it a lot harder than it had to be. That's it. Piece of cake. All right, let's get not a lot of air in there. We just want to have a little bit of structure to work with. There we go. There. You know what I didn't do? You know what I didn't do? This was a flat tire. You always got to check the inside of the tire before you put a new tube in to see what caused the flat. So I'm gonna run my hands in here and hopefully I don't run into a spike that cuts me open. We'll see. I'm pretty sure it was just an old tube though. So far so good. All right, nothing. Turns out it was probably just an old crusty tube. Okay, let's make sure that's lined up first. So we have a nice vertical stem. We'll push that in here first. And then brace it with the body, get it all the way back over. And that is our pinch point right there, so we're gonna lubricate it like so. And then go reverse on the hook this time. Get it over without pinching. You can pinch the tube on the inside real easily if it doesn't have enough air in it. And then you end up having to buy another new tube. So don't do that. Man, why are you fighting me? Can't tell you how many times I did this, and as soon as I went to go put air in it, had a leak right where I pinched it. Had to start all over. Let's see if I still have my 1997 mojo. Please no leaks. I'm just gonna make sure that our bead is popping here. Roll it back when you get a little bit of tension in there so you get an even bead. Do it the other way too. Okay. I don't hear any leaks. That's what I like to see. Okay, good enough for now. I was trying to get this lock nut on and it doesn't thread onto these new tires. And then I just remembered back in the day, we used to actually throw these away because of extra weight, if you can imagine that. That's like hardly anything, but you do that 100 times and it's actually something. And that reminded me too, as I'm putting the cap on, we used to throw those away too, because hey, if you have that tightened up, who needs the extra half of a gram, right? But we're gonna keep it. Okay, we're gonna clean. There's still a little bit of grime I couldn't get with the pressure washer on this cog. You can see it. So we're just gonna use some parts cleaner. I don't wanna get it in there if I can help it though, because pretty sure this stuff isn't very good on rubber. Oh yeah, looking a lot better. And then this stuff will just air dry. Look at that shiny thing. Really don't want to get this on the derailleur, so I'm just gonna put some on this microfiber. Sacrificial microfiber. This is just for looks. We want this bad boy to shine, right? This is pretty bad too, these chain guide cogs. I don't know if that's the right word for them. I apologize. All you bike guys these days are probably a lot smarter than me. I haven't done this for years, but it seems to be working. By the way, if you guys have any tips that you would suggest, or if I'm doing this absolutely wrong, politely leave it in the comments below for others to see. We're all about collaborating on this channel and sharing best practices to help each other. Sometimes a screwdriver's all you need. Pretty simple. Okay. Get this guy back in there. The rears are always fun. There we go. It helps to have some upward pressure when you put these on so that they are in the right spot. Otherwise your wheel's not lined up. Oh, I should mention this. Used to have a nice park bicycle stand, and you don't even have to have this set up. You can just tie a rope to something on the ceiling, and this is gonna make working on your bike way easier. Because then you can do that, you can hit the gears, all that stuff. Sure beats working on it upside down. Even if you don't plan to restore a bicycle, every bike owner should have one of these. These will loosen up like 90% of the bolts on your bicycle. This and a couple screwdrivers. And I actually ride with one of these in my pack when I go places on rides. So very handy tool. They have a wobble head so you can maneuver easily. Just super easy to work with. There we go. There we go. Get that hooked back up somewhere. Nice. And, oh, we need to gotta disconnect the brakes. So we shouldn't have to disconnect any of the stuff from the bar, because all it's connected to is the gears in the back and this brake system. So we're just gonna pull these off like so, and then we'll come back with our new fork. I should have done this before disconnecting the stem, because technically that's what was holding it in place, but there's some friction in there that's holding it for us for now. There we go. Alrighty. Oh, those are light. Now I'm pretty sure there's a specialized tool to pop that off, but I'm gonna go hillbilly style on it. So it turns out this is working, just tapping lightly with this painter's tool. Again, don't do this at your own risk. I didn't want to wait for a tool to come, so I'm just doing this with what I got. Sometimes that's how it goes. I grew up in the country in the 80s and 90s, and you just learned how to work with what you got. And we're doing a little bit on each side so it doesn't bind, because that'll damage it. There we go. How much we got there, Reed? 3 pounds? No. This thing's not accurate on lightweight stuff. I know for a fact that's 2,200, but, sorry, 1,100 grams. But for, I guess, relative weight, let's see the difference. Huh. Look at that, the RockShox Sid Air, lighter than a basic fork. The technology they had back then is insane. So let's measure our stem here. We're at 7/11/16. I bought the extra long stem version of this. It was practically the same price. I didn't want to get one too short. Was it 7/11/16? Yeah. You don't want to be too short. We're just going to make it the same as the old. Just going to score the paint there a little bit. 7/11/16. Looks good to me. Slick Honey. From back when I did work in a bike shop. I think this is from 2001, if I would guess. Maybe even earlier, actually. Just gonna put a little bit of that around there. May as well get it on the inside of this one too. Don't need much. Ah! We'll refilm that part. What did I do? That was that, right? So actually this is separate. So we'll get some on there also. And then what we have here is cut curtain rod that I filed down flush, because I don't have the proprietary tool that bike shops have right now. We're just gonna slide that over here, and we're gonna get that over there. Any kind of rod, even PVC should work, as long as you're just gentle on it and apply your pressure evenly. That's why I'm tapping around in circles. And I chose the ball peen hammer instead because I want short, hard bursts, so I don't have to slam into it with a rubber mallet, which rubber mallets work for some things, but this is more direct energy transfer going on. There we go. That's what we want. Oops. All right, ready to go back together. Okay, got a new star nut from the local bike shop for $3. And this is just like a random, probably a metric thread, I don't know what it is, but it fits, that I had. You wanna thread that so all your threads are in there. And that way you're tapping that in, not something that could damage the star on there. And we just want to get that. There's tools you can buy to guide this, but this will work as long as you're. All right. put this socket on here just to give me a little more control. And we're gonna go down about 3/4 of an inch. Check that. Looks about right. Okay, take that out of there. Sacrificial bolt. Don't use the one that goes into your head. All right, looks good to me. We'll see if it holds. Get some honey in there too, and make sure these are nice and sealed and packed in. Okay, I got all the parts cleaned out and degreased. Oh yeah, buttery smooth. So I had to use my cameraman to help me get this assembled, but essentially just the disassembly in reverse. We ended up cleaning and greasing everything, and then we're gonna give this a good till it feels snug right about there. All right, for those that you guys don't know, this is my son Reed. He's 15 years old. He is the guy behind the camera when I'm not holding it and doing selfie filming like I am right now. And he's homeschooled, and this guy is learning to run a business, start a YouTube channel that he also wants to use for his books. He's an excellent fantasy novel writer. So if you guys want to help the channel out and help this guy learn how to be successful in life, and you do like DIY and you want to spread the DIY and help kids like him grow, please like, share, and subscribe. Okay, we're gonna use Tri-Flow to loosen up these cables. Actually not too bad, surprisingly. My bike's way worse. My bike's also a 90s era bike. Not quite as nice as this one though. And just slowly let it run down until we start seeing it come out the bottom. So you can see there that Tri-Flow is coming through. I'm gonna let it come all the way down this housing as well until it comes out here. You could just replace your cable housing. This is probably a lot faster and cheaper. And the cables are still in good shape, so there we go. And I'm doing this before we put the tire on so I don't get the tire all greasy. So we're gonna use WD-40 for the shifters because that's just to break up gunk. We're just gonna move it around. Ooh, nice and smooth. Yeah. Don't use the WD-40 on the cables though, because that'll break down the rubber. So you want to use the Tri-Flow in there. That'll just keep it lubricated. By the way, I was just at the bike shop and they have the same thing as this with a bicycle label on it for 18 bucks. This is like $4 at the local auto parts store, same thing. Anyway, again, control, keep it on the rag. We're gonna clean off the chain. I don't want it getting into the rubber O-rings in there, because that'll break it down. But we're just gonna make sure there's no WD-40 on there, because I did also spray the derailleur with that, which I'll wipe down with this. And that again is just to break up the old crusty gunk in there without having to take it apart and go heavy duty on it. But you can see we're getting a bunch of crap off of here still. And then let's get it off of there too. Okay, now what you want for your chain is the Tri-Flow, just like with the gears. And get one drop on each link. Slow and steady wins the race. You just want enough to go in there and penetrate and make those things work the way they're supposed to. So these have micro adjusters, but some of them don't. Some of the cheaper brakes, you have to take this wire out. I'm just gonna show you how to do this. And just bend the wire back a little bit, get a little more tension on it. And you literally just go back and forth until it's centered, which I think I got pretty good. I'll take it. I'm gonna dial the gears in, and I already did some of this yesterday. I should have put it on film for you, but just a quick summary. You screw in your cables all the way, and then what I usually do is, there's a tool that you can use here, but I used pliers and I just kind of pivoted off of this and it pulled this through, and I pushed this down so that we have roughly that geometry. You don't want this cog riding on these cogs here, so it needs a little bit of space there. And then you cinch that down and you can micro adjust here. You want to have a little bit of room for it to stretch. Then the last thing you're going to do is set your derailleur guides and this is your stop. So you can see if I push, I'm pushing on the thumb right now, it's not really moving much. It's because I already have it set, but if I loosen it up, it'll go further. And so you could actually push that right off the cog. So this is what you're gonna do, is tighten it down as you're pushing. Once you find where that you want that gear to sit, and right there, that's where it goes. Okay, so we just also made sure we were set for our stop on the bottom end. And we're just gonna, look at that, one click at a time, XTR. Shimano XTR, baby, I love these. No, that was me, didn't push it hard enough. One at a time, one at a time. Best derailleur of the 90s, bar none. You might need to get some thin wrenches to get in here. And the right side is gonna come out the normal thread, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. The left side's gonna be backwards. It's gonna be lefty-tighty, righty-loosey. Lefty-loosey. Aha, just kidding. Righty-loosey. Okay, these come with a socket hex threaded stud, and you get them on the inside. Pretty handy. Never had any like that before, but that's pretty smart. Got to get the boy doing something. Well, he filmed, so I can't complain. You ready to go try this out, Reed? Where are we at?
25.8.
Point what?
8.
All right, so we added 1.5 pounds with these heavy pedals. Well, pretty light for flat pedals, but they're heavier than the step-ins, and probably 1/2 pound with the fork. So there you have it. Reed, you ready to go take his first spin?
Sure.
All right, let's do it. All right, give it a whirl, dude. Hit those brakes nice and hard. Whoa! Yeah, good old V brakes. They're strong. How's it feel, Reed?
Good.
Think it's gonna work?
Yeah.
Better than a Walmart bike?
Probably.
Nice. All right, all in, that took about 5 hours. Not easy, not hard, and definitely well worth the money. I mean, this is like a piece of history. Such a cool bike, and you know, we could always try to find some retro shocks or maybe the restoration kit for those, but ultimately I think it was a good move. Hope you guys enjoyed that, and if you do like DIY stuff, this is not a bicycle channel, it's a general DIY channel. If you stick around, I'll show you how to do other things, like I have videos how to swap out these built-in LEDs into a screw-in bulb. I'm all about using what you got, making the best of what you have, and fixing things when they break. So give us a thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.
Thanks, Dad.